Maybe. Welcome into the Legislative Lounge. I am your host, Natebige, with my co-host, Professor Mike. How we doing today, Mike?
It is a beautiful day in Arizona. It's actually getting warmer. I think it was like almost 90 degrees a couple days ago.
Yeah, here in Texas, it's a bright, sunny, shiny day, and
Yeah.
a whole lot going on. But yeah. So this, I mean, got a lot of good news coming out of Washington, and honestly, in the stock market, in the investment pool, and what's coming up for the job lines and everything coming up. I mean, tons.
What do you mean? Did egg prices get better?
Yeah, I mean, egg prices are down nationally. I haven't checked this for this week, but last week when I made that video about the egg prices, man, it went absolutely, well, not viral, but I mean, it got over 150,000 views, so that
You
was
know,
nice.
anything that makes it without getting banned is viral for you and I.
This is true. This is true.
So
But
egg prices are going down. How about gas?
gas is at a national low. I know Michigan saw a little increase, but that's because their tax incentives for gas tax went up there. So
Mhm.
it sucks to be you in Michigan. Maybe you should get Whitmer out of there and stop voting her dumbass in. I'm just saying. I mean, that's just us, but but yeah, I mean, when it comes to like investments, we've talked about it several times on here. The investments for I mean, taking a look at the national average for gas before we get into that, I got the current average as of March 14th, which was just about a week ago. That was sitting at a national average of 3.08. So $3.08. When it comes
Yep.
to about a week before that, it went down 2 cents from there. A month before that, it was 8 cents, and then from last year's to this year, it is down 37 cents.
And
So
that's
not
the
bad,
gas prices, right?
right? And it
Yeah,
was
it's hard.
I believe it's 25%, or I mean not percent, 25 cents down prior from the time that Donald Trump took office.
hmm from what they say, at least leading sources, they said this is the cheapest March since 2021.
Right.
That's pretty wild.
And I mean, taking a look at the egg prices, I know you just mentioned egg prices last week on the 14th were at a national average. Now, mind you, some people obviously don't understand what national average means. That means the collective of all of the states, guys, finding the median between them all. Just because you're Joe Schmo, Trader Joe's, and Walmart in your local podunk town of whatever, whatchamacallit, Illinois, or some other shitbag blue state, because they're still charging you $6 to $8 for a dozen eggs, does not mean that you are the average. Okay, I want to make sure that's clear because obviously people don't understand that on my video this week. But the national average is $4.15 across the nation. Now, here in Texas, it's lower than that. Okay,
Mhm.
see how that's how averages work. So when it's still $9 in California and it's only $3.50 here, that's how you get the averages, guys. Just so you
It,
know.
it's in between $3, high $3 and low $4 here in Arizona. So
uh,
it really depends on exactly like Nate said. It depends on where you live. Like in Michigan, where you can only buy cage-free eggs, it's obviously going to be higher.
right. And the thing is it's lower than what Donald Trump was at, what it was at when Donald Trump took office.
hmm
So we're starting to see that. We told you the president Donald Trump had nothing to do with the egg prices, guys. It's a massive influx of price due to the fact that there was 150 million egg-laying chickens that were unalive due to disease, along with a nationwide recall on eggs due to salmonella outbreak.
You've been
So
on
it
TikTok a
it
lot.
takes time to recoup that.
You've been on TikTok a lot. You said chickens on a live.
I know. I mean, it's become normal conversation at this point now. I find myself because of TikTok. They brainwash me, man. Honestly, they be brainwashed because I say it in daily life now when I'm not even on social media. I'm like, I mean, kill, murder, absolutely torture, rip to shreds. Like, I gotta like correct myself in real life now, the opposite way. But looking at a lot of different things here, I mean, a lot of us already know about all of the investments that are happening here in the United States. Donald Trump has been on a rampage when it comes to actually getting new investments into America. I know on a previous show we had talked a little bit about Apple and how they're investing over, I believe it's $500 billion into the market here in America, reinvesting it and building a new complex here in the state of Texas. That alone will create, I believe, they said was 20 to 30,000 jobs here in the city of Austin, and that'll be the next 3 to 4 years. Because obviously it's going to take time to build that. There's some other ones like Neptune Steel, which is one of the biggest things that I really wanted to take a look at because there's two companies that are going to be coming here or reinvesting more into America when it comes to steel, because that's one of the biggest exports that we get from Canada, and one of the big talks. If you're following the whole tariff war, quote unquote, between the United States and Canada, one of the biggest things that was talked about was not only crude oil, but it was all and what is that ash? Different whatever ash, potash, and then steel. Those were basically the three top things that they were talking about. And at this point, it's like, where are you going to get this steel from? Japan? You're going to pay more for it. Ha! You're America. The citizens are going to pay more. We told you it was a tax on the people. It's like, no. The entire intent behind tariffs is to force companies to come to America to create jobs here, to create higher GDP results here in America. That was the entire intent behind it. And that's what's happening because you have Neptune Steel and you have Hyundai that are actually creating several different steel manufacturing plants here. I know that Neptune, I believe they're investing. I can't remember. I believe it was like here it is. It was $14.1 billion, and then Hyundai is putting another $5 billion into it, along with the fact they're going to be Hyundai. This is separate to steel, but the Hyundai, the car manufacturing side of things, they're actually going to be investing another $20 billion into the United States to expand their operations of making the Hyundais here.
Yep.
And that's on top of places like Toyota and all these other companies that are coming back.
And Hyundai is building a plant in Louisiana, I think you said.
That's the steel plant. Yep.
Yeah, that's wild. A lot of good things coming to America, and it has everything to do with the president's foreign policy initiatives that he's been doing for 60 days now, and we're seeing fruits of that labor. We're seeing multitudes of companies just to get away from the tariffs, establishing bases of operations, like we've always been saying, here in America and making them domestically. And it's going to make us richer, and it's going to make the cost of living better, and it's going to actually, when you start making products domestically, the price of vehicles are going to go lower.
Right. And I know one of the bigger ones here as well, when it comes to the actual investments, is huge from the UAE. I'm not sure if anybody is familiar with them, but it's the United Arab Emirates. They are investing, I believe, $1.4 trillion over the next 10 years, increasing it up to that. That is going to produce different sectors because they have a lot of investments here in America, and they're going to be increasing when it comes to semiconductors, manufacturing, AI infrastructure, and a lot of different areas. So we're going to be seeing huge rebounds. And the reason why, you're seeing you're starting to see a trend of the actual Dow itself, or the stock market in general, trend back up because of all of this. We told everybody, wait until these deals start to come into play, and you're going to see a rebound. Not only a rebound, but you're going to see it explode into a new level of
prosperity.
unforeseen numbers when it comes to the stock market. Like right now, today alone, they had an increase of nearly 600 when it comes to the Dow itself, which is the main one that everybody looks at. I mean, you can look at the Nasdaq and all that as well. Dow is typically the one that's the one that's looked at when it comes to everything going on. And this is what we were talking about, guys. Like
Mhm.
this is the trend we've seen just over the last week, right? It's always up, and everybody wants to focus on this little dip right here. But the thing is when you zoom out, uh-oh, you get a whole different narrative, right? Over the
Mhm.
last 6 months, there's a huge drop right here. Why didn't nobody talk about this drop to here? I mean,
Yeah.
this is
Uh,
a huge drop nobody talked about,
it's evident of the volatility of the stock market.
right? I mean, we got one right here, and I looked at it from year to date from last week over the last year, right? We've had how many drops? So this is the drop everybody's been freaking out about, right? This is the look at this. Okay, we got a drop from 42 or 43. What is it? 44 down to it
Go
went
to
down
go
to
to 5 years.
but no. This is just the last year over Biden's
Mhm.
administration. This is what I want to point out. 6 different times did it drop just the same from 39 down here
Mhm.
to 37. And look at the dates, everybody.
Oh,
Look
yeah.
at the dates from March 27th to March. This is not even a half a month. That's about a half a month, really, actually. It dropped 2,000 points. We didn't talk about that, but
It
nobody
wasn't in
talked
their
about that.
best interest to talk about
Or
that.
40 on May 17th down to 38 in a matter of what? Not even 15 days. Nobody talked about
Yeah,
that.
couple weeks.
How about this one? July 17th, 41.1 down to 39.8
No one
in
talked
just
about
what?
that.
Not even a week. That was exactly yeah, from the 17th to 24th. Nobody talked about that. Or how about this massive thing from 48 40.8 on the 30th, dropping down to 38.7
Mhm.
just in a couple days. I mean, this happened repeatedly last year, and nobody wanted to talk about it.
And you could see that you could go to the 5-year one, you could see the same volatility throughout the stock market of
Oh
this
yeah,
past
I mean, all like look at this monster right here. Like we're up here at 33, and this is after COVID, so you can't blame COVID. You know what this is right here though, Mike?
Is that September?
This is from August 19th down to September 30th. You know what happened during this time, Mike?
Is that 2021?
No, it's 22.
2022? 22?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what happened right there?
Mhm.
The Inflation Reduction Act.
Yep. That was
Nobody
the
wants to talk about that.
is that 7,000?
Yeah, let me see here. I don't know if it was 7,000. So 37 or 33.7 down to 28.7. So it's what, 5,000?
5,000? Close enough.
Yeah. Nobody talked about that. I mean, oh dang. Or how about this one from 35.4 to 32.4? That's
Mhm.
3,000 right there in a matter of a month. I mean, this is what we're trying to tell everybody. Look at the trend of everything. This is from the beginning of time of when the stock market took effect, right?
Mhm.
All the way down here. This is where we're at, guys. Like
Man, look at
we
that big drop.
I know that's what I'm looking at. Right? What is this? 2020? Yeah, see that's COVID right there.
Yeah. But look at the rebound.
Yeah, look at that rebound though. Boom. Everybody's like, "Oh, it's, Joe Biden's doing." No, it's not. It's because everything opened back up, you dummies.
Everything was open back up before Biden took office.
I don't know. It's just the craziness of not understanding how everything works when it comes to economics. And everybody likes to use the stock market as some kind of indicator of how the economy is doing. It has no indication of the economy whatsoever. Well, I wouldn't say what whatsoever, but like you're using it as like the main focus of how, oh my God, the Dow is down, the economy's going into recession. I'm like, they don't correlate like that. What are we doing?
No, that's just the volatility of the structure and then the investment practices of those taking part in it that you guys complain and don't even take part in the stock market or the crypto market. You don't know what you're talking about.
All right.
The
And I
the
mean,
crypto market's worse. The volatility of the crypto market, much
oh,
worse than the stock
absolutely.
market. Like,
I've got a little bit in the Shiba Inu, and man, I tell you right now, that's all over the place.
I get the notification, and it's just like it's like Morse, or it's like a Richter scale. Just doot, 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 doot.
Right. Talking about some volatility in the market, though, I don't think that the people on the left that were talking attacking Elon and boycotting Tesla, I don't think they realize that their plan absolutely backfired on them because just in the last day, or in the last 3 days, from Friday till today. So from Friday, because that's only technically it's just one day, per the market because they're not open on the weekend. He shot up 20% today.
Imagine that.
20%. Y'all thought your terrorism, your domestic terrorism was going to work, but in all reality, it just showed people that, you're just a pile of crap, honestly.
Well, my
And
thing is majority of the people that own Teslas are not Republicans. They're Democrats.
correction, correction, Mike. I didn't even see this. It is not 20%. It's
Oh,
29%. In
excuse
one
me.
day, it shot up 29%. So everybody
But
talking about, he's dropped. Well, I hate to
well, if
break
you
it
if
to
you
you,
if you look
he's
at if
back
you
up
look at
where he
that curve
was.
right there, if you look at that high point, that was in November. The highest points in November, right?
Yeah, it's December.
December.
Yep.
And that was right after the election. Of course, people are going to invest at the highest point
Hmm.
during the during the point where Donald Trump won. But like going back to what I was saying, um, majority of those that own Teslas are not Republicans. Majority of Republicans are owning gas powered vehicles. They're not owning electric vehicles because we didn't buy into the green scam.
Right.
And all of you domestic terrorists, you guys that are firebombing Tesla dealerships, y'all that are vandalizing people that own Teslas, you're eating your own party.
Right.
Like, and nothing speaks more hypocrisy than you advocating for the climate crisis, and then destroying electric vehicles.
Makes no sense. And then they're making all of these videos of them flipping off their car like it's gonna hurt. Like, what are we doing? Like, I mean, what is flipping making a video flipping off an inanimate object going to do for you? I
It's ridiculous, and it, Lord have mercy.
But I'm
there, there's
excited. I like I
there
said,
there
I predicted everybody to take a look at the market and just keep an eye over it in the next month. I've been right this entire time. I said, wait until the summertime.
Yeah,
Wait until
we've been
the end of summer.
we've been
Things are
saying
going to
that
be absolutely beautiful.
for a while now. I think you can go back last a couple episodes ago where we were talking about it. But yeah, the Democrats are eating themselves. They are leaderless. You have, well, who is it? Is it Tim Walz? Tim Walz and AOC going around the country.
Bernie Sanders and AOC, but Tim
Bernie
Walz
Sanders.
is doing his own thing too. And
Uh,
like, there's no working together anymore. They're all just doing their own thing.
No, you have like this oligarchy fighting collaboration of socialists, and then you have these progressive Democrats over here. They're, they're divided. The Democrat Party is divided and is dying.
Oh, absolutely.
And then there's you have Tim Walz talking about a presidential run. You have Kamala Harris talking about a presidential run. You have AOC and Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders almost 90. What are we doing? I thought you guys don't like old people anymore.
That's wild. I mean, to see somebody that's that.
And he said this. He says the same things over and over again.
Am I back now? Or
You're
did I?
back.
All right. Yeah.
But,
Last
like
thing I heard was talking about how old Bernie Sanders was. Sorry, I'm having some.
yeah,
I think I lost power there.
um, what's wild is Bernie Sanders, he's on this kick right now going around the country talking about how bad Russia is. The dude used to take vacations to Russia.
Right?
He's talking about fighting for the middle class. Dude is worth $10 million.
He's a
Like,
millionaire in himself. And just to mind you, to put that in perspective, he's never had a job outside of government. Never.
mm,
Not once. Not at a coffee shop, nothing. He was an activist before he became, he was bum, basically. Just a downright hippie. And then he became, got into politics. He's never had
yeah,
an actual job, but yet he's worth $10 million.
yeah, it's wild. It's hypocritical.
But one thing that I have been talking about, or that I've been hearing people talk about now, I want to gauge your thoughts on it, Mike, because honestly, I know the Constitution. You know the Constitution. Everybody knows the Constitution, but there's always a but, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people are talking about a third term for Donald Trump.
Now, as amazing as that would be, because I think at this point we're just going to vote for, you know, people regardless of age, or else we may be seen as ageist. Um, I want people to realize something. Term limits on their face are unconstitutional.
Absolutely.
So, term limits are unconstitutional, whether it be for the governor, whether it be for the president. As you can see, Congress has no term limits.
Hmm.
Supreme Court justices, the Court of Appeals, the federal district court justices, those are all appointed by the president. Those are life appointments. They have no term limits. How is it we only have one branch of government that has term limits? It's almost like Congress wanted to increase its own power and limit the power of the executive branch.
Right.
The branch of government that actually decides foreign policy, the branch of government that actually decides how law is enforced based on Article 2. So, if Donald Trump wants to go down this route, which I don't care, if you have a good person if you have a good representative of your government, keep him there. But he's got to be good, and the people are the deciding factor.
Right. And I mean, if you're telling me that I can't vote for somebody because they've served too long or too many times, you're taking my constitutional right of having representation that I choose.
Which is exactly what the American Revolution was started over. Overtaxation and no representation.
Right. Now
So,
you take my choice away when you put term limits on it. And there's
mm,
such an inconsistency across the nation about it too. Because, like, for instance, here in the state of Texas, the governor doesn't have term limits. But you can go right over there to New Mexico or over to Louisiana. I believe they both have term limits. Go to Oklahoma, they don't have term limits. So it's just like it's not and I understand their state constitution that play a factor into that, but the foundation of most of the western uh c- states, because they were all after the United States Constitution, was they're all foundational in the United States Constitution itself. So it's like, if we're gonna see this, we need to see it across the board and for all positions. But honestly, you need to get rid of term limits.
100%. Um, 100%. And that, unfortunately, the problem that we're going to run into is a congressional problem, because you'd have to have a 2/3 majority to get rid of that amendment.
Yeah, don't you like the fact that the people that don't have what we're calling for, or I mean, you get what I'm saying? Those that don't have to abide by what we're wanting are the ones that are deciding whether or not others can have it. It's kind of
Hmm.
ironic, huh?
Yep. Imagine that. You see,
Oh
this
man.
is this is this is why I always say, it's extremely controversial to some, especially those that do not comprehend what they read, especially the
Mhm.
Constitution. Abolish 11 through 27. Just get rid of
Right.
them. Go with the articles. Go with the original articles in the Bill of Rights. That's how the founders wanted it. There was actually a big argument back in the 1780s over the Constitution and then the Bill of Rights. The Anti-Federalists actually had fear of an overarching, strong, centralized government, and that is why they put into place in 1791 the Bill of Rights. It puts a check on that government.
Hmm.
But the founders were dumb, right? We're much more intelligent now than the founders were.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to the whole situation, like for instance, to put this to bed, I guess you could say, in a sense that like make people understand how stupid people are being nowadays is Donald Trump used an act from 1793. The aliens,
Oh,
Mike, you can remember
yeah,
what the name
1798.
of? Yeah, what's the
The al
name of the bill? Or
it's the Alien Enemies Act of 1798.
right, and that was written into place and signed into law by the president at the time, who was present and signed
Mhm.
the Declaration of Independence, and
Mr.
yet
John Adams.
they tried to say it was unconstitutional. I was like,
Well,
hold
let's
up.
let's be clear. That's Ilhan Omar.
Well, no, there's several Democrats that are saying it, and it's just spreading like wildfire now all over social media. And it's like,
Well,
how, huh? You do
yeah,
know the guy that signed that into law was also there that signed the deck. If there's anybody that knows whether or not something is unconstitutional, I'm pretty sure it's the fuckers that signed it.
yeah. The Congress that conceived, drafted, and ratified the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 are the same people, majority, that signed the Declaration and conceived, drafted, and ratified the Constitution that y'all
I'm
cry
just
about.
I'm just absolutely floored by that because I mean they're sitting out here saying that something is unconstitutional, that it should have never been into place when it was actually signed into by somebody that was present and signed the Constitution. Like I can't even, I don't know what else to say about it. It's got me speechless outside of that.
Well, when it comes to the Constitution, I'd be more than happy to have a conversation with any leftist, Democrat, progressive on that very document.
Well, I mean, we understand that people don't know how to read. I mean, we've got plenty of huge creators out here, like Chris Valenti, who's got over almost 3 million followers, saying that Donald Trump brought back segregation, that he legalized, and this is his words. He legalized white and black water fountains. Like, all right,
Where
just every yes, yes, he literally said that in his video. It's
that
like,
guy, that same Chris Valenti that crashed
yes,
out in my live.
yes. Has 3 million followers, and he's sitting out here telling people that Donald Trump legalized. First of all, let's focus on that for a second for everybody that failed friggin' ninth grade civics. The president can't legalize anything. He is an executive branch.
He is the enforcer.
Like, huh? What are we doing?
He enforces the laws that are conceived and drafted by the Congress.
Okay.
He may
Well,
sign them into law. He has the power to veto them, but the Congress can come back to him with a majority and go around his
and
veto.
this and where they're deriving this from is a memo that was a
Mm,
derivative from an executive order on January 21st from Donald Trump's, and it's the Ending Illegal Discrimination and Restoring Merit-Based Opportunities executive order. Now, I'm going to pull this up for us so we can take a look at it because there's specific areas in this that people need to take a look at and really understand how stupid these people are when it comes to not being able to read. Like we keep continuously telling you guys, this is what is the problem with America is they claim that they read stuff, but you can so evidently see and test them that they haven't. Because first of all, they couldn't even tell you where that memo's from or what it's a derivative from. It's from this right here. The Ending Illegal Discrimination and Restoring Merit-Based Opportunities. But this is how you know they didn't read it. The very first friggin' paragraph. right? Outside of the area where it says by the authorization vested in me by the president, blah, blah, blah. The very first paragraph, section 1. Let's read it together. The purpose of this entire damn thing. Okay? Let's keep that in mind. Long-lasting federal civil rights laws protect individual Americans from discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. These civil right protections serve as a bedrock supporting equality of opportunity for all Americans. As president, this is Donald Trump speaking, if you didn't know, guys. As president, I have a solemn duty to ensure that these laws are enforced for the benefit of all Americans.
Mm-hmm.
This is the executive order that they're saying he legalized segregation. That's the first paragraph. And it goes throughout here talking about the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and 67. But even further than that, what this is more specifically in reference to has to do with federal contractors, right? Saying that federal contractors can cause segregation in their positions and whatnot. However, if you read the friggin' area in Section 3, Section B, to be specific, about federal contractors, the federal contracting process shall be streamlined to enhance speed and efficiency, reduce costs, and require federal contractors and subcontractors to comply with all civil rights laws.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
this, Mike, is where they're getting that Donald Trump brought back segregate.
Hey, I'll say it right now. If there's a leftist out there that thinks that Donald Trump brought back segregation, please join the podcast. We will allow you to speak uninterrupted and bring your evidence to support your statement. We will give you the platform to show us, educate Nate and I on how he legalized segregation.
I would love to know where that is, because this is where it's from, guys, and it repeatedly talks about the civil rights movement. I'm sorry. I mean, this got me so up in arms. I'm just like,
Same thing.
how did you even get this?
It's you know what they do? They do the same thing my 5th grader does. Did you read your book? Yeah, I read the words. Okay, what happened in it? I don't remember.
Honestly, Mike, I don't even think they read the words, because I can be like that too. I'm the same way. I'm a bad reader. If I'm not like in a quiet room by myself, reading aloud to myself, I ain't gonna understand a damn thing I just read. 'Cause that's just,
Oh,
I read the words. I don't know what they said, but honestly, at this point, I don't think they're even looking at the words, man.
I'm a I'm a bit of a nerd. I could be playing Pokemon and reading something at the
Oh
same
God, no.
time. Oh yeah.
Not me. But I
It's
mean, even more further proof to show that people don't, because what we do here on the legislative lounge is we look at executive orders and we look at legislation, hence the name, right? Another piece of information that people keep running with is the fact that the United States, or the Republicans, are trying to get rid of and scratch Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security, food stamps, all this other nonsense. And we've heard it repeatedly over the last several months. It's the blueprint of Project 2025. Yet not a single piece of legislation is out there showing any kind of massive reduction or elimination of it completely. But you know what you do have, Mike? You have HR 1968. The
Yep.
full year continuing appropriations and extension act of 2025. What's
Correct me
that,
if I'm
Nathan?
wrong. If you want to see the funding for the VA, you could go to page 71. If you want to see the
Oh,
funding
no, Mike. We're going to go through this. Okay. Because
if you
I'm
want to see
so
the funding, what I think it's page 43
yeah,
or
no, I'm not on
or
that. I'm just going to take a look at the specifics of Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security right now, just because that's what the biggest thing we keep hearing, and yet
well
they've not been able to produce anything.
I keep mixing them up, whether it was CR 14, it was page 10 or 11, or if it's this
Yeah,
page 10 and 11.
CR. It's the CR. This one
Okay.
has to do with the appropriations of
Yeah.
funding
So
for things like Medicare, Medicaid, which is
this
hilarious
one,
because nobody talked about this. Everybody always talked about the CR, but they didn't understand this was passed at the same time. But if everybody would take a look, look, oh my goodness, this is written by a Republican. Holy cow. Now let's look at the actual contents of it, guys. Oh
go to
my gosh.
page. I want to say it's 43.
I'm not in the actual document itself. I just have screenshots of specific areas.
Oh,
But for instance, here we have the Medicare Improvement Fund, right? This has to do with Social Security for Medicare in regards to increasing the amount allotted for Medicare. And look at this guy. We go from 1.2 billion to 1.8. So they increased this nearly $600 million. They didn't decrease it. They didn't keep it the same. They increased it. But if we can dive even further into this stuff, we have
hmm
for those that don't even have the ability to go to the doctors, right? They have the extension of certain telehealth flexibilities, which also helps those that are immobile, so that
man.
way they can get their doctor's care. We
hmm
also have here extension of funding, outreach, and assistance for low income programs. Uh-oh, there's your Medicaid. And what happened there? We went from 22 to 30. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We went from 8.5 to 10. Uh-oh. People need to read. If you take a look at all these other areas as well, we have extensions on add-on payments for ambulance services. Uh-oh.
hmm
We have quality measures and endorsements, inputs, and selections here for extended funding. Went from 11 to 14. This is what we keep telling you guys. You need to actually read these documents
Yep.
because you're
But
going to get a narrative from the news and from the people in Congress that only fits what they want because they know you're stupid.
and
Start proving them wrong.
we've seen it that they have a script. I think Nate, you posted a video where what was it, 30 of them or something?
22, yeah.
22 of them were saying the same exact thing.
We keep telling them, Mike, that they do this, and we could show them blatantly in their face like that, and they still were like, they're saying the right things. Like, this is literally what MK Ultra is, you absolute buffoons, where
This
they program you with messages over and over again, subliminally and into your face. They're
yeah,
literally programming you to believe the nonsense.
100%. And it's a sad time, very sad time. But I'm not, when it comes to the Democrat Party, I'm not terribly worried because, like I said before, they're leaderless, they're divided, they're destroying themselves, and it's so much fun to watch. Like my entire X feed is all liberals.
It's bad.
It's
It's real bad.
and people keep telling me that X is a right wing app.
I don't see it. I don't
All I
see it.
got are liberals.
I've got a political troll page just to see what's going on that page. All I see is whiny leftists, and I
Mhm.
follow nothing but people on the right because I mean I follow some people in the middle too, but I mean my For You page just whiner after whiner, and the biggest thing right now is the whole Israel and who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares about the
No.
desert? Nobody cares.
No.
Let it all
No.
burn.
Yeah, I follow a lot of right leaning creators. I follow middle, but I mainly follow the Democrat representatives in my state because I love to troll them, and I would love for them to come on, any platform, just to join us for a conversation. If you're in Arizona or Texas and you're a Democrat or an independent or even a Republican, send us a message. We'd love to have you on. We want to pick your brain. We want to see if you're actually doing your job that we're paying you.
Right, absolutely. Well, I'm trying to get an interview with an individual on for our Saturday show on the radio for somebody that's running against Dan Crenshaw. But like to Mike, what Mike said, if a 86-year-old babbling communist hippie and a 35 babbling bimbo that worked at a bar before becoming a congressional member is the leadership of the Democrat Party going forward, and with hundreds of thousands of people deregistering as Democrats, they're solidifying the next 3-4 elections for us.
I think, if the Democrat Party keeps going this way, we're gonna see an election like we did with Reagan's first one, where damn near the entire country was red.
Way to go, Minnesota. You had to
And,
ruin the perfect game.
if you haven't watched that movie, Nate, Reagan, where Dennis Quaid plays him, it's a great movie. I tell Mimi to ask Megan about it, but she fell asleep. But, 'cause
Maybe you probably would too.
I'm
Those
an
are our
old
wives.
I'm an old man, and I watch that stuff.
But I mean, it's going to be interesting to see over the next year or so how our economy is just going to absolutely explode, and then they're going to have nothing to say.
It's
I
gonna
mean,
be
we're the trajectory, even from most experts right now, is showing that inflation is supposed to drop by the end of this month. Because the reports come out for the previous month, it's going to be well under 2%.
it's already dropping. As of March 12th, it was under 3, right?
Yeah, it was 2.8.
So, and there were some third now, it's kinda funny because Nate called me out because I was trolling people, and, so there are third party, analytics that were predicting that at the end of March, it's gonna be around below 2, and I was using that information to just troll leftists because I know they don't read, and then Nate calls me out in a text message and
He
says, "My."
claims he was trolling, but he was using it as live time because that's what Trueflation. It's trueflation.org or something like that
It's
is what he
it's
was using.
it's an amazing third party, and it's great because liberals can't read.
It's a year to date uh, estimation based off of
Mhm.
business trends of what the current day inflation rate is.
Yep.
And at that point, it was like what, showing 1.9 or something when you were showing it.
It was showing, well, it
It
was
was under
wild.
2%. I know that,
It
but
it was
I
well
was
under
like,
2.
Mike, we don't do that here at the
It
legislative lounge.
oh, but we weren't on the podcast page, we were on my page, so it's perfectly
uh,
fine to troll people, but, yeah, we're gonna see the economy explode. The problem I have right now is I call on every Republican member of Congress, every single one. You have a job to do, and
mm,
it's to take all these executive orders and solidify them into legislation. That way, another Democrat president can't just go in and revoke them. You need
right.
to solidify them through legislation. When it comes to the birthright citizenship, that's going to get passed in the Supreme Court. I'm sorry, leftists, you can cry about it, but there's nothing constitutional about 2 illegal aliens pooping out a baby and that baby becoming a citizen. There's nothing constitutional about it. So cry about it. Argue with me about it later. Um, all the business practices, the foreign policy, you need to solidify that into legislation. If not, we're just going to keep going back and forth until the end of time, and we're just going to keep fucking around with this country.
Right.
Solidify it. This is your job. This is what I elected you to do.
Absolutely. And then the whole thing goes back to the whole Thomas Massey versus the Republican Party issue of,
Hmm.
where we're at in regards to solidifying even just the Doge reduction of outlandish spending across the nation. And that's the reason he voted against it, because there wasn't enough cuts.
Yep.
And their claim was they're going to refocus that onto the reconciliation bill, which is HCon Res 14 for those that want to actually look it up on Congress.gov. It's
Hmm.
been agreed to in the House, so that's where they're going to make the huge pieces of change. Like they want to implement, the no tax on tip, all that stuff. Like those are individual bills, but they're going to solidify it permanently through the reconciliation bill. All the tax cuts, the 2017 tax cuts, while increasing the child tax credit and things like that. That is the monster of a bill that you want to wait to see for, because that's where they said they were going to do it. If they kick their can down the road even more, yeah, we're going to be all up in arms.
Oh yeah, you'll see some choice words from myself and Nate in regards to
Mm,
them not addressing the budget for the 25th fucking year in a row. So,
absolutely. I mean,
and
you got experts out here. I mean, even what was it? The Secretary of Commerce came out and said that if they could balance the budget, everybody making under $150,000 a year could potentially not have to pay any taxes going forward if they would just do their job, guys. We're
mhm,
sitting here complaining about having to pay so much in tax and all this other stuff. And it's like the people that you keep electing, if they just did their damn job, the majority of Americans wouldn't have to pay taxes. Like,
100%.
let that sink in, guys.
We're not supposed to be paying all these taxes to begin with, but it's through congressional greed that we're doing it. In 1913, the 16th Amendment was ratified, and it allowed Congress to basically lay claim on every form of income.
Right. And I mean,
Eh,
you got so many areas of the United States that funneling money into different areas. I don't know if you've seen the latest Joe Rogan podcast from I believe it was like last Wednesday or Thursday, where I can't remember the gentleman's name, but went on there and had documentation of President Obama using USAID funneling money into the Cayman Islands
mhm.
from that, claiming that was foreign aid to somewhere else. It's like you guys don't realize how much actual fraud and embezzlement by our representatives is happening right in front of us.
Yeah, so what they do is and it's this process that Elon Musk called out. There's no so the system of payment, there's no transactional history. There's no showing where it derived from and where it's going.
Right.
It shows an amount and that's it. There's no way to track it. There's no footprint. And it's wild. Another thing that they're talking about doing is doing away with all the bullshit judges. So anything that does not so how the law is supposed to apply to American citizens is the only way that you are in a courtroom and provided a judgment over is through a jury of your peers. That is the only way an American citizen is um, to be conducted, right? Because you are judged by your peers. You're not judged by some administrative hack that is biased to either the left or the right.
Right.
And that's another thing that's going on is a lot of scrutiny behind federal district judges. And I know Nate may have talked about it on Radio Debang on Saturday between the different Article 1 and Article 3 judges.
Yep.
So we have Article 1 judges, which basically are your magistrate judges and your administrative judges, which are essentially bullshit. And then you have your Article 3 judges. You have your Supreme Court at the top, which is the only court that determines the constitutionality actions of the legislative and the executive branches. That's the only branch that's able to check the power constitutionally like that. Then you have your Court of Appeals, and they handle the appeals process for civil and criminal law. And then you have your federal district judges, and they are primarily responsible for civil and criminal law as applied to American citizens. They are not supposed to touch the constitutionality of the president.
Absolutely.
So you have
And that's
civil.
why you're starting to see all of these calls for impeachment.
Hmm.
You
Well,
have
they're operating outside their judicial scope,
right. I mean, what is it?
and
Jonathan Chu, who is the one that blocked, I believe it was the USAID situation. Yeah, they have actually introduced articles of impeachment for him.
there's going to be articles of impeachment for a lot of these judges, and a lot of them are Biden and Obama appointees,
Right.
and I believe there's something like 670 of these types of judges throughout the country. There's a lot of them,
Right.
and these are lifetime appointments because they're appointed by the executive branch, and um,
Now, me personally, I think because those are appointments, they should absolutely have term limits because nobody's voting for them.
mhm.
I think a
So
position that I know this kind of you might think this contradicts what we were saying earlier about having term limits, not having term limits for any elected official. But that's the thing. Judges aren't elected most times. I
mhm.
mean, you have your local judges, things like that. But I'm talking about the ones that are appointed by the president. Those aren't elected officials. Those people should not have a lifetime appointment. They should have it should be a straight line of like I don't know, 10 years or so. Let's put it that way. whatever the opinion be.
The functionality of that is complex.
Right.
I mean, imagine if you had 670 appointments all just terminate at the 10-year mark. But
Well, I mean, you can stagger them based off of where they're at right now within. I mean, there's definitely different ways of doing it too.
mhm,
You can look at the importance, the level of, because I mean, obviously there are different levels. They can have different time frames. One could be 5 years, one could be 10 years, one could be 15, 7 years, whatever. So I mean, there's many nuances that we could look at that in legislation and whatnot to put it forth. But lifetime appointments for unelected bureaucrats, honestly, is what they're at, what they are at this point, because a lot of them, like Mike was saying, are just acting on party lines. I
mhm.
mean, you have I can't even remember her name right now, but the one judge that's absolutely going at Donald Trump about the whole uh,
Birthright.
birthright, yeah, the birthright citizenship. She's just absolutely hammering away with the Democratic rhetoric, and you could just see it. But you could
So,
also follow their backgrounds and know that they're all Democrat, funded.
mhm.
They donate to Democratic platforms.
But that whole immigration thing, like, that judge, like, they need to be careful because that's a real easy case of, impeachment just based on ethics. And,
Right.
ethics goes a long way, especially in the judiciary branch. And, talk a little bit about immigration, one of the hot topics was 𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗛𝗧.
Hmm.
So, a lot of people are just so upset that this man is being, possibly deported. He's gonna get deported. He falls under DHS authority.
Right.
DHS is, technically, they don't have to give him a court date. According to the
Mhm.
ruling in, what is it? Um, US oh, man, US v. Barajas? It's a Supreme Court case in 2024. Basically, the Supreme Court stated
That's Barajas v. Mayorkas. That's what you're asking about.
yeah, that one.
Oh, okay.
Ketanji Brown Jackson led the opinion of the court. This is a unanimous decision, basically saying that when it comes to immigration, the entire authority is under Department of Homeland Security, which is the executive branch. So, if you're crying about Khalil, if the DHS suspects and can tie, they don't have to present any evidence to us. If they can suspect and tie a national threat to that man based on his terroristic ties, which he does, he came out in videos and said it
Hmm.
that he supports Hamas and he wants to cause death to all the Jews, right? He does not believe in a two-state solution, wants a complete eradication of Israel.
Right.
Then the DHS can revoke his green card, which he got under a marriage, and if he didn't have a green card, then they can revoke his student visa, which he came over here with. And what they found out recently is that he lied on his student visa about
Oh.
his ties. So the federal government has everything they need to deport this man.
Mm. But of course, that's not the narrative being driven by the news, so people don't know these things.
And when it comes to the 200 odd gang members that were deported to Venezuela, right? Like, why in the world? You want to know why Democrats are losers? Is because they're supporting gang members over their
Mm.
American citizens.
Right.
Like, in what world do we live in where we have a political party that is supporting illegal aliens that are causing death, violence, and destruction in our communities?
Well, I mean, even a lot of people keep using the Fifth Amendment and saying that, due process, whatnot, and, not being able to self incriminate. It's like, first of all, that doesn't apply to illegal aliens, guys. Like, I don't know. I know you like to read in there where it says for any persons, like that it's referring to any persons in regards to American people, not
Hmm.
illegal immigrants, guys. Like,
Yeah.
it starts with we the people of America,
Yep.
of the United States of America, right? That is how everything was formed. And
Hmm.
that's what the Constitution refers to as we the people of the United States.
Um, yeah, it's plain English, very plain English. Costs $4. What was this? Sorry, $3.95 at your Barnes and Noble, or you could download it on your phone. Just read it. Like it's right there. Preamble: We the people of the United States. We the people of the United States, not we the fuckers that broke 8 U.S. Code 1325.
I mean, if you're gonna sit here and try, and this is what they're using as defense, Mike, like the whole any persons, that's those particular words. If that was the case,
Mhm.
our Constitution would be applicable to literally everybody in the world. That's not how it
100%.
works.
If and, the gentleman that wrote the 14th Amendment and wrote the Citizenship Clause stated very clearly that it does not apply to foreign dignitaries, ambassadors, delegates, and what have you, or aliens.
I mean, we have a Supreme Court case that we've talked about numerous times, right?
Yep. USB Wonkim Art.
Right. And I mean, we
No.
also already know that there's no such thing as a federal citizen. So we're all citizens of
Yep.
each state.
Yep. Um, yeah. We The Constitution is a contract between the individual nation states, which are the 50 states. And it's simple. If you broke into the country, just like if somebody broke into your house, you have no right to be there. I can kick you out immediately. I don't have to give you due process. You cross the threshold, I can kick your ass out. If you cause harm, then if you cause harm, if you are a murderer, rapist, thug, and I then give you due process to build you a rap sheet that is tracked internationally.
Mm, key point.
So then if you try to break into anywhere else, that's going to come up and they're going to be like, "Oh." And in other countries, you may face direct imprisonment or direct death.
Absolutely. That's what I don't understand with when it comes to the Democrats is like nowhere in this world will you find anybody's constitution or whatever they call it in their country that allows for what we're allowing for. But yet, they'll still claim we're not the freest country in the world at the same time. That's what gets me the most. They'll sit here and say, "Oh, they have due process no matter who they are, where they're from, and everybody has the right, blah 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 blah." But we're also not the freest country in the world,
Yeah.
huh?
Go break into the UK. Go cross that
Huh?
border.
Well, I mean, honestly, the UK is making a case to beat us out in this area. Honestly, with all the Islamic individuals that are
Well,
causing
this
riots all over the UK. Yeah,
well,
you know,
I
you
mean
might have a case there with the UK.
to get a little controversial, with that particular demographic, their own scripture calls for the death of non-believers.
I know. I was just having an argument with an Islamic person on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, and all they could use was First Samuel like 5:18 when they're instructed to kill everything, everyone, and all the inhabitants. Basically, I was like, okay, sure, fine. That was one particular instance where they were the enemies of God, and God telling them to annihilate them. But
Mhm.
your Bible, quote unquote, tells you 123 separate times. Yes, you can fact check me on that because I'm very versed in the Quran, the Surah, and all certain, however you pronounce it. I don't care.
Mhm.
It 123 times it says to unalive somebody in very graphic ways, some cases, just for not believing in Islam. Not because they're their enemy or that they're fighting against them or that they're trying to unalive them or not. No, just because they simply do not believe in Allah.
Mhm. You know, those of us that have actually pursued a little interest in scripture, Nate's obviously more read than I am. We could tie the first 6 books of the Bible to Moses.
I mean, five.
5, excuse me, 5. See what I mean? It's more versed. We could tie the first 5 books, right, to an individual. If you ask somebody who wrote the Quran, they can't tell you. Muhammad was illiterate. Who wrote the Quran?
Yeah, I mean, we can. I would love to have a whole conversation about that on one of our episodes.
Mhm.
And because I mean, me personally, I'm not a religious individual. I'm not somebody that subscribes to any religion. I do have my beliefs. I do have my set of beliefs, and I believe a specific way um, that more aligns with Christians. However, there are very few and far between Christians that I even agree with, just because they don't know how to read the Bible. So,
I am a follower of Jesus Christ. I am not a Christian.
yeah. So, anyways, but we got a lot coming up over the next few months. Take a look into the USMCA is going to be ending on, I believe, the 2nd or the 4th. I can't remember which day, but a whole new deal should be made there, and that is going to make our economy explode because Canada and Mexico are going to have no other choice but to make another deal with us, which is going to make it more feasible to us. But basically, it's going to even everything out. So
We're
keep a lookout for that, and we're going to be seeing a lot coming up.
we're gonna say it right now. This summer, you're gonna see a more prosperous, a more secure, and a greater America. And thank you for joining the greatest podcast in America for Americans, not illegals. Be sure to follow us on all forms of social media. Myself, Nate Big, Professor Mike, the Legislative Lounge on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, and Patreon. And until next time, God bless.